Welcome back to the Sideline Live podcast. You can follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at the Sideline Live. We'd love to hear from you. On episode 39, I am delighted to be joined by former Young Superleague Player of the Year, Eoin Leonard. On this episode, we chat about all things basketball, moving from Tralee to prep school in the United States, to junior college in Florida, NCAA Division 1 basketball, and now on to St. Mary's in San Antonio, Texas. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi Ryan, thanks a million for coming on the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you're from Tralee and you're in San Antonio at the moment. Do you have your Kerry jersey with you?
Oh, I do, yeah, of course. Right there. I have two of them.
What are you thinking now with Tyrone versus Kerry? How are you feeling about that match?
Oh, easy. Kerry all the way.
Will they win the All-Ireland, do you think?
Yeah, surely now. Since Dublin are out of it, a very good chance now, yeah.
You grew up in Tralee, or I think you grew up in Kerry anyway. Take us through a little bit of that. What got you into basketball? I know your dad was involved, and just take us through a little bit about that journey of your life.
Yeah, so I grew up in Tralee, pretty much lived in Tralee until I was 18, even though I moved away twice briefly, but for the most part, grew up in Tralee. And yeah, like you said, like my dad was obviously, professional basketball player, played in Europe and stuff, and eventually settled in Ireland. And yeah, like, so I've been around it since I was a kid, and watching him play in the Superleague and things like that. And that's kind of just how I got into it. And then, eventually, when I was about, I was kind of late. I remember probably like 9 or 10, I started playing like organized properly with St. Brendan's, and from there just kind of took off.
Did you have any role models, maybe outside of your dad, that you kind of looked up to from a young age?
Apart from my dad, I don't really know. To be honest, there wasn't a lot. Like Super League, kind of when I was at that age, was gone from Tralee.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really much to look up to. It was just kind of remembering my dad, and even like obviously at that age, you weren't even looking at. I wasn't even really watching like the NBA or anything like that. It wasn't that, it wasn't obviously showing really in Ireland and stuff like that. And I didn't have like YouTube and that kind of
the dodgy streams.
Yeah, and all this type of thing. So I didn't really have anyone to look up to apart from my dad. But my dad obviously was a big role model in my life. Yeah.
And did you play any other sports growing up, or was it just basketball?
No, of course. I mean, obviously I have to play. If you're from Kerry, you have to play football at one stage in your life.
Yeah.
So I played football for probably about a week, I'd say, only just the rain and the mud and everything like that kind of.
Yeah, like I stick to the indoors.
Yeah, exactly. And but I did play soccer as well for a bit because I like soccer and stuff. So I played that and stuck around in that for a bit longer. But yeah, no. Then I stuck to basketball.
Yeah, very good. So you represented Ireland at the under-16, under-18 and under-20 Irish teams, but kind of that under-16 age group. Talk us through that, and what does it actually take to make it to those underage Irish teams, and the extra practice you do, obviously outside of the team, or possibly you're playing probably playing school basketball as well?
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, it's a big commitment, especially like you said, the under-16. It's really like an under-15 panel. So I was like 14 when I first kind of tried out and tried to get involved in the Irish basketball setup, and it's a big commitment, especially coming from Tralee and coming from Kerry, where like usually all the training and practices in one of the bigger cities, Cork, Limerick, Dublin most of the time. So like it's a lot of traveling, and it's a big sacrifice basically. You're giving up a lot of your free time and a lot of your weekends. So, you're not hanging around with friends that much and things like that. During the week, you're obviously at school, and then on the weekends, you're traveling to Dublin or wherever it may be to go train and things like that. So it is a big sacrifice, and you have to be committed for sure.
And did it kind of open your eyes, as you said there, you're going to Cork, Limerick, mostly Dublin. Did it open your eyes to basketball beyond Tralee and seeing these high level players in different counties?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I went to my first trial, I didn't really have much experience with basketball outside of Kerry. And you just, you hear names and stuff like that, and you're curious to see what basketball outside is like and what the players are like. But yeah, it was definitely kind of nerve wracking to see how you compare and stuff like that. But yeah, it was interesting for sure.
And was it at that stage that you went to Plymouth, or how did that all work? And I think you mentioned you went there
Um,
twice.
yeah, so I went to Plymouth when I was 15, maybe. It could have been 14 or 15. No, I was in. I played a year actually for the under 15 development squad, so I would have been 15 when I went there. But yeah, it was like, they had some trials in Dublin for this academy, and I went to it, and I was picked to go to Plymouth and stuff like that. And I went probably start of August, and I lasted a month before I was too homesick. It's a young age to be moving away from home. I was with another family and stuff like that, but it was yeah, it was tough. It was tough for me, especially the main thing was adapting to kind of like the school I was at.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean the basketball as well. Like there was like two other guys that were like around my age, 15 at the time, but the rest of the guys were actually all 17, 18. Like
Okay.
you're playing against guys a lot older than you, and
Yeah.
it's a big commitment, and it's tough to do at that age for sure.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like, especially when you're 15 years of age, mom's
Yeah.
cooking. Even though you're with a family, like, everything is different. But I get the
Yeah.
sense you spoke about it before. You got homesick, and then I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. When you went to New Jersey, you got homesick there. But did that experience in Plymouth kind of help you down the line with kind of dealing with homesickness, going abroad,
Yeah,
adapting?
for sure. And then actually so I came back from Plymouth, and then I finished out my junior cert, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then I actually, my dad and my family, we decided that we were going to try and move to America. So I
Okay.
actually went to high school in America the year after I went to
Oh,
Plymouth.
okay.
Yeah, I went to high school in America and again for another month. But for that reason, it didn't work out financially because my family was supposed to come over and everything like that. So it didn't work out financially, and we had to move back. And then I finished out school and things like that. And then I went to New Jersey, and yeah, my mom kind of told me that I wasn't coming back this time. It was just kind of, yeah,
You're
like yeah,
going and you're staying.
yeah, exactly. No, like literally, she said, "There's no way you're coming back. So whether you like it or not, you're staying." So that was kind of it. So yeah, it was tough at start as well. It was a whole different experience, not anything like I expected at
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
Um, I really didn't even know what to expect, but I didn't expect what it was for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was tough adapting. I was kind of like, it's kind of one of those things where you're just kind of holding on to like stuff back home,
Mm.
friends, family, all that, and you just kind of have to let it go almost, and kind of fully immerse yourself in what you're doing. So that's kind of a learning point for me in adapting to situations like that.
Yeah, and you spoke about it recently in an interview that when you went over, as you said, you're clinging on to stuff at home. I know you had a pretty good year the year before with you won Young Super League Player of the Year. Talk us through a little
Yeah.
bit of that, and kind of, as you said, then there wasn't a lot of basketball in Tralee when you were growing up, but you did watch your dad when you were younger. That must have been a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, but that was great. So like, obviously, I was in sixth year, and I had the opportunity to go to Lawrenceville, that prep school I did, and I kind of turned it down because I wasn't sure even about even continuing basketball much at the time. Like,
Okay.
if it was something I really wanted to do, um, things like that. So I actually end up repeating my leaving cert, and that's the year I played with Tralee Warriors. Um, and that was a fantastic experience. Like, I always remember that, and I'll always be grateful that I got the opportunity to play for Tralee in such a big setting like that. Um, it was no, it was, I don't know, it was special for sure, because even the group of guys we had playing with, guys like Kieran Donaghy and all the guys, the American that we brought in and everything like that, it was a big honor for sure. And then getting the opportunity to play with my dad in a Super League game was obviously very cool. Um, and yeah, no, I loved it for sure.
And how did the opportunity come about with the Lawrenceville School in New Jersey? Because they had you turned them down originally, but did you reach
Yeah.
out or did
So
they reach out?
yeah, no, so then once I was going through that year, and I kind of really found like a love for basketball again, and realized that it was something that I wanted to pursue anyway for the next couple of years at least. I kind of reached out to them again and asked if there was an opportunity to come over the following year. And, they obviously were very happy and gave me the opportunity to do that. So that was great. Yeah.
And did you originally reach out to them when they offered the first time, or how did that all work?
No, they reached out to me the first time because I think I went to SDA camp run by
Yes.
Fulton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that. And I had a few different prep schools kind of reach out to me from my highlights from that. So they reached out the first time. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So you spoke about it before as well. The tuition fees are like $70,000, and the kids are like ex-NBA, MLB daughters or sons, and all this stuff. What was that like going over there? It was obviously a bit of a culture shock, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's a whole different world. Your eyes are definitely open. Coming from Tralee, not having much of that experience, it's interesting for sure. It's like I don't know. They didn't really flaunt it as much as I thought it would be. Like when I first got there, you wouldn't really notice it.
Okay.
Well, when you hear the conversations of things that they're doing at the weekend or things that they were doing in the summer or whatever it may be, like you really start to realize like, oh, like this is a whole different world. Like these people are doing crazy things. And then obviously I got to, a couple months in, I got to make some good friends there. I still have some good friends from there to this day. We would go to their houses and things like that. And they just, it's again, like I said, it's literally a whole different world. And it opens your eyes a lot.
Yeah, I'd say so. What was it like basketball wise going over there? Kind of talk us through that schedule, training, kind of the expectation really that they have at the prep school level.
It was interesting because I actually thought obviously that, like everyone thinks like you're coming up to America, oh, it's the mecca of basketball, it's going to be insane. But it was really an adjustment for me because I went from being the youngest player in the Superleague, in the entire league, to being like the oldest player at the prep school. So like obviously the roles are they're very different.
Yeah.
So when I first went over there, I didn't really get a grasp of that. And as soon as I got there as well, coach was like, yeah, you're going to be the captain and all that stuff. And I was taken by, I was like, oh, like really? Like,
yeah,
I'm coming in. But yeah, you're playing with guys. And we had a young team as well. Like you're playing with guys. So I was 19. I just turned 19 at the time then. And you're playing with guys that are 16, 17, 18. So I was definitely the oldest. And I was supposed to be like the leader and stuff like that. And obviously with Tralee Warriors, I wasn't really in that kind of a role. I was kind of
completely different role.
Yeah. So it was an adjustment at the start, but once I got that down, it was all good. And then training wise and stuff, it was good because it was the first time that I really got a strength and conditioning coach. And there's a lot of emphasis on that. So like the way it's set up in high school is that there's at our prep school anyway, it was 3 semesters. So you have the fall, the winter, and the spring, and you don't play all the in Ireland, you play all the sports at the same time. They kind of split it up. So basketball happens in the winter, and then in the fall you have to do a strength and conditioning kind of like program and stuff. So it was the first time where I really got exposed to that, and found out kind of the importance of it and everything like that. So that was probably the biggest thing about going there for sure was understanding the importance of strength and conditioning. Yeah.
And what was the competition level playing against other prep schools? Was there any how did you find that adjustment?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, teams usually had it'd be 1 or 2 guys that were really, really good, but then the rest, it wasn't like everybody was amazing or anything. Like there was even on my team, there was guys who played a different sport, a different sport was their main sport, and they were just kind of playing basketball for fun and stuff like that. So it's not as sometimes people get that they think it's all everybody's trying to play basketball and it's all serious, but it's not like that. But there was a few teams that were really good. There was one team who had a guy who's playing in the NBA now. He plays for Toronto now. He just got traded to Toronto. His name is Precious. Precious, yeah. So I played against him in high school, and they beat us pretty bad. But yeah, there was always a couple guys that were going to go on to good D1 schools and things like that.
could you tell from playing against him that he was just a different level, or was it maybe
Oh
after
yeah,
that? Okay.
yeah. No, you knew straight away when you were playing against him that he was a special talent. And then I know the year after we played, he went to a different prep school, Montfort Academy, which is a very famous one
Yeah,
in America.
the factory.
And then went on to play at Memphis. But you knew for sure that he was almost destined for the NBA and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And talk us through a little bit of that recruiting process. How does that all work with colleges? And I know you went to Santa Fe, and I know Sean Flood was there. You didn't
Yeah.
overlap, but you were probably in contact with him at some stage.
Yeah. So unfortunately for me, I always had kind of strange recruiting processes in the sense that the first year out of prep school, I wasn't actually eligible to play D1 or D2 basketball because of my grades from Ireland.
Okay.
They, obviously doing the way that they do it over here, they don't have the, in Ireland, they don't have the GPA and continuous assessment and all that kind of thing. So my grades weren't really good enough to be eligible to play. It was really like May, and I was kind of like almost ready to like come home. Like, though I didn't have any other option. Like, okay, I'm going to go back to school at the IT in Tralee and go from there. But then Santa Fe reached out to me because, Sean had told me, or Sean had told them about me. And then I reached out to Sean. Obviously, we talked on the phone and, just talked about the place and things like that. But yeah, it was kind of like it was my only really opportunity to continue playing basketball in America, and I wanted to. So, I took it and I ran with it,
Brilliant. And so you came home, I think that summer, you were saying to me before we recorded, but what was that like then, going from prep school, being probably one of the older players, being in a leadership role, to junior college, and coming up against what I would like, you probably, from what I understand of junior college, there is quite a lot of talent there. It's just for whether it's academic reasons or other reasons, they're not at the college level.
Yeah. Again, it was more so not the going from the leadership role type of deal. It was more of a culture shock in the sense that now, these going from being at prep school with all these rich kids and stuff like that to going basically to the other end of the spectrum of people who might not be as well off and that kind of, middle-aged class and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that adjustment of kind of dealing with those kind of people and stuff. But junior college, it's interesting for sure. Like it's not a place like everyone goes to junior college not to be at junior college.
Yeah.
There's always a reason they always want to get out and go somewhere else. So, it's not always a happy camp to be around and things like that. But it is a great experience, and it is a great thing that is set up for people for whatever reason it may be. Like in my case, it was academic. Other people, it's a second chance because they've gotten in trouble or whatever it may be. But no, it is a great system that they have set up.
How well did they portray it in Last Chance U? Was it a good, like, did they portray it correctly, or did they kind of make a lot of it for the camera?
No, they portrayed it pretty accurately. They actually had it, like, theirs was, I won't say pretty bad, but they had a lot more struggle than we did. Like, we had a lot more help. They had to kind of, like, they were living off campus, and they had to kind of feed themselves and all that. We had a little bit more help than that, and it wasn't as much of a struggle, I would say. Well, there's definitely junior colleges like that for sure, and it was definitely portrayed in pretty accurately for sure.
Yeah. How did you, when you were at Santa Fe, you spent 2 years there, where do you feel you made the biggest jump in your game? Was it, as you mentioned before, S&C? Was it maybe something else? What do you think was your biggest jump there?
There it was, because again, like I said, there's a lot of competition there. There's a lot of D1 level players that go there, and for whatever reason they just happen to be there and not at a D1. So that it was dealing with like the athleticism and understanding how to deal with that, like and understanding that you can't simply, you know, drive past this guy now, or like even like shots that you think were like contested, they're like, or like they're a little bit contested. That's like an open shot now, like, and you have to take that shot.
Yeah.
So just adjusting to things like that really helped me, and it was really my second year there that I really got the hang of it and understood that it wasn't going to be so easy anymore. Sure.
Okay, yeah, it took you that like adjustment period. That seems to be kind of like a lot of people do speak about that first year is quite hard for a number of reasons. Like new system, new place, new school, you don't know. But that second year, did you just feel more comfortable in yourself as a player?
Yeah, definitely. That first year is always hard because, like I said, like you're going from high school into your freshman year, and now, like I said, like in high school, like everyone's not playing basketball. Might not be their main sport. Everyone's not playing basketball. You're the best on the team.
Yeah.
And really, when you go to college, like the players get the pool of players shrink down a lot, basically. Yeah. And everyone, you know, wants to play basketball, is there for playing basketball. A lot of times everyone kind of has aspirations to go on and play professionally and different things. So you kind of have to understand, you know, that you're not the best player anymore, and you have to try and fit in and different things like that. But my sophomore year anyway, I made that jump and was able to figure all those things out, thankfully, and you know, have a good season to get a couple offers anyway, at least.
Yeah. What's it like when people say you're from Ireland? Like, what's the reaction like? Are they like, people in Ireland, do they even play basketball, or is there a reaction? Oh, is that the reaction?
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously for me, I don't really have the typical Irish look, as they say. But yeah, that was a big thing my first year dealing with the younger guys. You know, they're like, what do you know about basketball? Like, you're from Ireland, like they they play there, but they obviously don't know how to play as good as us, type thing.
Yeah.
And which is not the case. And then it is always a theme. It's kind of a shock that they go, like, you actually understand how to play and can actually play, and you're actually pretty decent or whatever.
Yeah. You're like, I'm better than you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes it is like that. And honestly, they don't understand. Like, even now, like playing like at that Superleague level, like apart from the D1 school that I was at, that was probably the best level that I have played at. Like, you know, like,
okay,
we want like junior college, and even D2 now a little bit. Like, that Superleague is a pretty good level, and especially high school. Like, it's way better than high school and all that, for sure. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, you know, like, I've played at higher level than all you guys. Like, I know what I'm doing, like, you know?
Yeah. Be quiet there, lads. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's it like then? Like, you spoke about Sean Flood. I get the sense when there's, especially with the kids that go abroad, like yourself, I know Darragh O'Sullivan's over there at the moment. Do you connect a lot with each other, knowing that you're all kind of in a similar boat, whether it's homesick, dealing with new environment? Do you keep in touch with one another, or is it just you kind of keep to your own set of friends?
It depends. Like, I mean, obviously, like, guys that you play with on the international team, like, you know, they become your friends and stuff. So obviously, me and like Matt Tracy, for example, we connect a lot because we're such good friends. But you kind of you might keep in touch and touch bases and stuff, like with other guys, like just see how they're doing and things like that. But there probably isn't as much as connection as there should be. We probably should kind of reach out to each other more, in my opinion, anyway. Or maybe I just don't do it enough. So there is some, but yeah.
And do you ever feel pressure, kind of knowing that, I know someone spoke about it before, but it's kind of like, well, I'm now representing the next Irish kid that wants to come over, and I need to prove that we're actually good as a nation. Like you said there, they thought, geez, did they even play basketball in Ireland? But did you ever feel that pressure, that kind of like, I'm not only representing myself, my family, my club, but if they're going to look for another Irish person, they're going to reference me as, oh, he was a really good player, he worked really hard, so we're going to look over there again.
I don't know if it's pressure. You definitely want to make a good impression and make sure that, you know, people understand that, yeah, we can play and we're good. But usually the case is, like, you know, I know, like, now that you know, the more Irish people that come over, the more connections that we have. it's always a good reference to have. Like I know my coach at prep school and junior college always asked me about different players back home if there's anybody that so I think it's just more of a like you want to you want to leave a good impression, like and you make sure you have good relationships and stuff, so that you can help other players come over, because that was very important for me, just to make sure that I had those good relationships, and I could help other people, if they needed it at any chance. So yeah, you always want to make sure that.
Yeah, totally. So talk us through the recruitment process then at Santa Fe. You got a couple of offers. You said you had a really good year, your second year there. Talk us through a little bit of that and how it all worked.
Um, yeah, so I had a pretty good year. I was probably one of the best players on the team at the time, so I was playing a lot. Things I was dealing with little injuries here and there, so I was wasn't starting all the time or had to miss practice and things. But
Okay.
I fought through it a little bit. And yeah, I ended up getting my first offer from a Division 2 school, and then I got another Division 2 school offer me, and a couple months later, towards the end of the season, my first D1 offered me, and that was mainly because of Mark Burnson, who was my coach at Trinity Warriors. He was the
Okay.
head coach there, and he knew the head coach at Eastern Illinois, which was the D1 that offered me.
Okay.
He knew the head coach there and had talked to him about me, so they called me up and offered me. And then there was other schools that would talk to you, and it's more, they call it like they're interested and stuff, but they didn't end up offering because COVID kind of happened in the middle of it, and I wasn't able to go on any visits. So
Yeah.
usually, like, you go on a visit, you meet the players and you meet the coaches and you kind of see the campus, all that, and then they kind of get a good sense of your character and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up offering. So I didn't actually get the opportunity to do any of that.
Okay.
So I had to so obviously I didn't get as many offers maybe as I would have liked or would have hoped,
Mm-hmm.
but I had three, and I had three to choose from. And then I kind of had to go with Eastern Illinois, because I did have aspirations to go Division 1, and
Mm-hmm.
it was the only D1 that offered me, but also because of I trusted Mark Burnson and what he said about the program and everything like that. So I trusted him, and I knew that it would be a good school to go to.
And how did you find that fit then, going from, as you said, then you're going from Superleague, prep school, junior college to Division 1? Talk us
Yeah.
through those jumps.
Yeah, no, going from junior college to Division 1 is definitely the biggest leap up anyway. Maybe going from Super League to prep school was a big jump kind of down almost.
Okay.
But yeah, going to Division 1 was a big jump up. You go from being, maybe I was definitely like top 3 player at my on a JUCO team, and then maybe like 10th, 11th best player on Division 1 team.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are, they're really good. We had a lot of seniors too, which
Okay.
obviously made the team, very, very good. But yeah, it's a big jump and a big adjustment, and that's when you get to know that, you also get to know the business side of basketball at that point,
Okay.
because it's so commercial and everything like that. But you also, and then because of that reason, there's so much more work and effort you have to put in, and it is a big jump and adjustment.
As you said there, you're jumping from being a top 3 player at Santa Fe to being probably 10th or maybe 11th on your Division 1 school. During that time, does your confidence obviously take a bit of a knock, and how do you kind of have that resilience to be like, well, I'm going to keep going? Because I know some kids, would struggle with going from
Yeah,
being the best player to being one of the lower down ones.
you just for me, you really just have to first adjust your mentality. That's the main thing, is just adjust your mentality. You understand that, yeah, okay, these guys are better, and now what can I do to help this team win? That's basically the only question you kind of have to ask yourself, is what can I do to help this team win? Um, and obviously that year was strange with COVID and everything like that. I ended up opting out the first half of the year,
Okay.
and I went home in December. I came back January. I decided that I wanted to play and wanted to contribute, because I mean, a lot of the times we only had 7 guys playing, and it's hard to play a Division 1 basketball game with only 7 guys. Usually we have 15 to go from. So we weren't doing as well, and I decided to come back and play. And then 3 games in, I actually got COVID.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was a whole mess the kind of entire year for me. But yeah, no, going back to the mentality part, you just have to kind of really ask yourself, like, what can you do to help this team win? And don't be thinking too individual.
Okay, yeah, you said about it before. Control what you can control. Don't worry about the stats or numbers. Just play the game with love and passion. Did you at that time, or really any time, did you lose the passion for basketball, and did you lose that love of the game?
There was times along the journey that I did. Like I said, even like before playing for Tree Warriors and deciding where I was coming over to America or not, I kind of had that thing, and that was because I guess I'd been jumping around from team to team, and I really hadn't got that, team. And that's the reason why I love playing basketball. It's just the team element of it. I hadn't really had that team chemistry, team bonding type of deal with when I was jumping around from team to team. But yeah, you lose it at times, and you kind of just have to understand or figure out why you play and stuff like that. And I think now, especially transferring here to St. Mary's, I really found like a home, so to speak. And I know I hanging out with all the guys. I've only been here for almost a month now, and hanging out with the guys, like I really found like the team element of basketball is why I love playing basketball, helping my teammates and all that kind of stuff. So I think I kind of found it again, and hopefully the next 2 years will be good years for me.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to players maybe that are listening that are going through that stage of they're finding basketball a chore, or they just don't love it anymore? What advice would you give them?
Well, like I said, just really kind of, I mean, it can be anything. Like find the reason why you love the game. Like kind of just sit down with yourself, think about the things, because sometimes it just gets lost. Like we get into a routine of like, waking up, going to school, going to practice, playing the games, and it's just a routine, and it just kind of fades in our mind. But you just kind of have to sit down and kind of reestablish yourself, and understand like why. And it might be because you genuinely love the game of basketball. It might be because your friends play, or whatever the case may be. Again, for me, it was the team aspect of it, and I feel like I play basketball because it was the one sport I was good at.
Yeah.
And then the team element, if I was good at soccer, and I would have chose that, and the team element would have been, but just the team element of sports is what really gets to me. Like I don't really like those individual sports.
Yeah, I'd be the same as you. The team for me is just a big thing. I don't like the individual pressure. Is not for me. Like I think I'd crumble under that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, just find the reason why you love playing the game, and then go from there. Yeah.
Brilliant. So talk us through a little bit of that transfer process with St. Mary's. I talked a little bit to Anna Maguire about it, but how does that all work? Again, reaching out to coaches, is it from their side, your side? How does that all work?
Yeah, so I was actually in a pretty similar situation to Anna.
Okay.
In the sense that, well, I don't know if her coach got fired or not. Was that the reason why?
He got fired in the first year, and then new guy came in.
First year, she stayed there. Yeah. So my coach got fired as well, but the new coach came in and kind of said that he wanted to keep everybody. We kind of worked out for 3 weeks, and then he kind of came back and said, actually, like she said, like, so, like, go away.
Okay.
Type of deal. So that was very, very tough to deal with, to kind of hear that.
I can imagine.
And then it was like, it's that time it's like late April, and you kind of just don't know where you're going. Like, and I said, like, I hadn't played much that year. I played 4 games all year because of opting out and then getting COVID, and kind of I struggled with it a little bit, trying to come back from it. So I just didn't know where, like, who would want me, who's going to take me. But once I entered the transfer portal, I got a few calls from schools that had recruited me the year before.
Okay.
And St. Mary's had recruited me the year before as well for a little bit. I guess St. Mary's were the first people to get on the phone with me, and we had a conversation and stuff. And from the first phone call, I almost kind of knew, honestly, after the first phone call, that it was a place that I wanted to be.
Okay.
Because of just how kind of they try and treat this as a big kind of family, and it's very team orientated and not individual based, stuff like that. So I knew this was kind of the right setting for me.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, that team environment is what you love with basketball. Weather-wise, you're going from Chicago to San Antonio. I'd say that was a big adjustment as well.
No, I mean, obviously the JUCO I was in Florida,
yeah,
and I was there for 2 years, and I loved it. And then living in Illinois it gets cold. It gets very, very cold. We had like 16 inches of snow or something like that.
Janie Mac.
And it was absurd. So I did not have fun in Illinois that year dealing with the weather. But
yeah.
I'm much more happy being down here in San Antonio. Yeah.
Absolutely. So talk us through a little bit academic wise on basketball. I know you mentioned there you're in summer school, but how hard is it to balance both? I know there is like a requirement, as you said before, with basketball, with the NCAA, you have to have a certain grade to play.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to I've always had a problem trying to balance that, and that's just me trying to balance basketball and academics.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the right time basically to do academics and put enough work in for basketball. But I guess school, though, it's not that hard really compared to Irish systems and stuff. So obviously in Ireland, it's a lot harder. So it's not as bad for I guess Irish players coming over.
Yeah.
We kind of have a little bit of a step ahead academically and stuff. So usually we're able to get good grades and things.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a struggle basically to manage your time for both, because you want to find the right balance of, and it's hard because obviously you get tired, you get a little bit lazy or whatever, but you kind of just have to keep on track. And I mean, it's almost harder at like Division 2 and JUCO, especially where we don't have, like at a D1 they have so much money that we actually have like an academic center for athletes.
Wow.
And stuff. We have different people that can kind of help you out. If you're struggling, you just go there and they help you out, and there's actually like a person that kind of almost stays on top of you and stuff. But at these schools, like, you kind of have to be disciplined enough to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of the hard part, is just being disciplined enough to do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You spoke about time management, skill, basketball, but I'm always interested. I got this question from Puff Summers. How often do you actually think about basketball, and whether that's watching videos, podcasts, watching other people train, or just thinking about the game, visualizing something? Like, out of the 24 hours of the day, how much do you think about basketball?
I actually probably think about it a lot. It's probably I probably actually don't spend as much time, being truthfully honest, much time in the gym, playing basketball, as I probably should. But in that time, I do spend thinking about it, and I think it's a very important thing to do. Just even like the main things that I think about is like, I'll be watching videos, or even watching NBA or just a game.
Yeah.
And you kind of just, instead of just watching it for leisure and pleasure, like, you kind of just are almost analyzing the game at a time and seeing what they're doing. But then also, like, when I have my plays and stuff at your school, just kind of like going through the plays in your head and like finding out like where spots that you can get your shots and different things like that. I spend a lot of time kind of doing that. And I guess, like you said, like visualizing things like that. I find myself often just kind of almost even like daydreaming about it. I'll be in class sometimes and just be daydreaming about it. Like, okay, especially if there's, we play during the week too.
Yeah,
so if you're in class and you have the game later on tonight, like, I'm not concentrating in class. Sorry about my coaches if they're listening, but I'm just thinking about the game tonight and what the plays and what things I I think are easy, or things that I think that we could do to help win the game and stuff like that. I'm always kind of thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have like a big, really thick binder of all the plays and stuff?
No, we usually don't. We just kind of we do it so much in practice that
Okay.
you know, that it just becomes second nature almost by the
Okay.
end of it. But sometimes but at the start, like I will come back and get a blank sheet of paper and I'll write them out for myself.
Okay.
But we're usually not really like given. There's actually only one time I was actually given a big book of plays, and that was at Father Matthews when I was in Cork.
Okay.
Ian Cotter, I guess he probably one of the most prepared coaches I ever, and psychotic coaches also. But yeah, we had the biggest playbook ever that I ever had was at Father Matthews.
Yeah.
But yeah, over here in America, they don't really hand them out. We just do it. We do it so much in practice that
it's like drilled into you anyway.
Yeah, it's ingrained in you. Yeah,
exactly. So looking towards the future, you have 2 years here at St. Mary's. Talk us through a little bit of your role, and then if you've thought about beyond college, maybe is there something? Do you want to play professionally? Do you want to stay involved in the game somehow? Talk us through a bit of that.
Not too sure at the moment. I guess I'm not ruling out playing, but I'm kind of maybe transitioning into kind of starting doing something else, like doing something. I'm studying sociology, so kind of starting to kind of see doing something with that. I obviously would love to stay involved, like, and I love coaching kids and all that kind of thing. I definitely am not throwing basketball away or anything. But to go on and play professionally, and also like I'd love to come back and play in Tralee or in the Superleague at least at some point. But kind of further than that, not really too sure at the moment. And yeah, just kind of almost shifting gears and trying to focus more on what I'm going to do with my degree and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So it's so hard as well to think of you could come out with a different plan next week, like because there's so much time ahead of you. So
exactly, yeah. I'm
going to wrap up the episode with the sideline 7. It's the same 7 questions at the end of every podcast. Question 1: what is your favorite quote?
It's probably "Life is more than merely staying alive." I have it tattooed on. It's in Latin. It's a Latin quote. I have it tattooed on my rib. So
okay, very good. Best sporting event you've been
to? Probably, I haven't been to many actually, but probably Man United versus Fulham.
Okay.
I'm a big Man United fan, and I went when I was maybe like 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere at Old Trafford was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was electric, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable.
Out of interest, for yourself playing, is there any standout sporting event that you've been involved in, or?
Probably, I mean, all those games in the complex in Tralee, when we had like 1,000 people there, were rocking. But the one game that stood out that year was at UCD when we were down like 20 at halftime or something, and they were kind of talking a lot, and then we actually ended up coming back and winning. Yeah. And that was a really good game. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen the videos of the complex in Tralee, the lights, the music. I think they had like a smoke machine maybe at one point, but like it's crazy down there.
It's a whole production, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to get down for a game. Biggest setback or challenge so far in your career?
Well, I haven't had any injury setbacks really. I've been pretty good with that. But probably the being told to transfer, that, especially that day, that was a hard day for me, as a player, kind of. So that was probably my biggest setback, so far. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Kind of on the flip side, then a bit more positive. Your biggest achievement on or off the court?
I mean, like everyone says, representing Ireland. I mean, I know everyone says it, but it is true. Yeah. It is an absolute honor, and I haven't got the chance to now since 2019. With COVID and everything. And then obviously seeing the guys win gold over the summer. Yeah. You really get to appreciate representing Ireland and putting that green jersey on every time. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like when the anthem comes on? Did you cry now? Be honest.
I might have shed the tear might have came in my eye. But no, it it's spine tingling for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's great. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Advice to your 18-year-old self?
Um, Probably like like everything happens for a reason type deal. Like, I mean, I know that there's a lot of moments in my life where, it might not have been going the way I wanted to go, but just just kind of stick with it and it'll all work out in the end type of deal. Yeah.
Dream dinner guest and why? And you can pick a few for this.
Pick a few. I mean, LeBron, obviously, because he's the greatest player ever, and I just love.
Okay, you've now got people listening to this going, "Oh no."
Yeah, I know, but I don't care. It's true. LeBron, and then some others. I mean, I love Drake and stuff, and I think he's a great artist and did some great things. So I'd like to kind of sit down with him, and I don't really know what else, but those two anyway. Yeah, I think they're just what they've done and what they've achieved is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that'd be a good conversation. Final question: if your life was a book, what chapter would this be called?
This is a great question, by the way.
I actually robbed it from Josh Hart's podcast. So if you've listened to that, that's where I got it from.
Okay, yeah.
So full credit to him, but I doubt he's listening. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And for me, at this moment, I would say something like along the lines of like almost like coming to an end. Because like hopefully now this is going to be, well, I'm almost positive, 99. I can't be positive, but 99% sure this is my last school in America. And, you're kind of just wrapping up your college career and stuff like that. And even then saying that it could be like my last time playing basketball, maybe at a high level for some time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just kind of that whole sense kind of coming to an end.
Yeah. You're ready for the next chapter.
Look,
Ryan.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a really busy guy, but I really appreciate you coming on. And I'll be sure to leave all your social media below if anyone listening wants to get in touch. And just really appreciate it. I want to wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
A massive thank you to Ryan for coming on today. I thoroughly enjoyed our chat. This is all part of our Green Army Abroad series where we chat to Irish basketball players from around the globe. I'll be sure to leave all of his social media links in the description box below, and I just want to wish him the very best of luck with the upcoming season. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy the episode, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a rating and a review, as it does help the show grow. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.